right, welcome to another edition of Wild Bill's Little Podcast. We have another week of Chicago Cubs baseball under our belt. Not a great week. Went 2-4. Got swept by Cleveland, so that's never fun. Always sucks. Then we squandered a possible sweep to put us back to where we were originally against Toronto. So not great. Not super happy with the way things turned out. There was a nice walk-off from Seiya Suzuki in the Friday game to keep the Friday afternoon, the Federal Landmark vibes strong. There was that game one in Cleveland where they fought back to make it, I think it was 8-7 was the final score, or 9-8, whatever it was. It sucked to see that Shota Imanaga got squeezed so bad in that one pitch that ended up being 4 runs. Should have been out of that inning. I believe there was also a play that Isaac Paredes should have made for at least one out that would have gotten them out of the inning. Would have stopped the 2-out rally. So one small thing just compounded into a terrible inning for who I think is our best pitcher. Those little things really catch up to you, and it would have been okay to go out there with at least one win, but it's upsetting because this would have been the week to really establish ourselves as more serious teams to be able to compete for at least the wild card. We're serious putting our competition against the actual American League Central division leaders. I kept saying last week that it was the Minnesota Twins, which is not true. I fact-checked myself. Fake news. It is, in fact, the Cleveland Guardians who are the leaders in the American League Central. And they showed it because they are a good team. Good pitching, good hitting, solid lineup, which is everything that the Cubs don't have except for starting pitching, obviously. So, went to Cleveland, got our butts kicked. On to the next series. Came back home against Toronto. Won the first 2 games. It felt like a sweep was about to happen. But then we went into Sunday thinking that we had a chance, and we had absolutely no chance. Scored 0 runs in the entirety of the game. Lost 1-0. That's the worst way to lose any game whatsoever. Because all you had to do to at least prolong the game was score 1 run, and you couldn't even do that. So the Cubs, not a serious team. Sad state of affairs. Had to wait 1 day to release this. Ended up being a little busier yesterday morning than I anticipated. But in the during the off day, rather this morning, Tuesday, August 20th, the Cubs have designated for assignment the closer that has stepped in since Albert Alzolay went out, Hector Neris. He's no longer a part of the Chicago Cubs. It's cleared waivers. He's been released by the Chicago Cubs, and we've called up a new kid that we acquired from, I believe, the Yankees in the Mark Leader trade, Jack Neely. To me, this is a big waving the white flag moment for the Cubs, saying that we don't believe in this guy that was a big free agent acquisition during the offseason. Let's call up the new guys, see how they do during this last month and a half of the season, which is sad to see. But this Neely guy's got a 2.42 ERA in 37 games in the minors this season, so hoping he's a reliable part of the pen. See how he looks. He's the number 18 prospect in the Cubs farm system. So that's pretty discouraging to see, letting go of somebody that was a veteran. Although Hector Neris was a unreliable part of the bullpen, which is saying a lot to single him out, because there's plenty of unreliable parts of the bullpen. Blew a bunch of saves, so did Albert Alzolay. There's probably about 20 blown saves this season, which sucks, because that would put us in first place. As we're standing right now, 61-64, 5.5 behind on the wild card, which there is still time, technically. 11.5 back in the division. Milwaukee's just too consistent, running away with it. I don't think anybody's catching up to them. The Cubs are in third place. I think second place is 10.5 behind. So that's probably not going to happen unless something crazy happens, which I would welcome, but it's not likely. And that's what I got for the Cubs this week. Playing a series against Detroit at home. Be the first time Javi Baez comes back since he left town. I was a big fan of Javi when he had his run with the Cubs early in his career, before pitchers realized that he would swing at anything low and outside. In retrospect, pretty happy that the Cubs didn't sign him to a long-term, super high salary deal, because it would have been a waste of money. I'm sure Detroit's really regretting that, much like Colorado's regretting Chris Bryant. Anthony Rizzo would have been cool, but revisiting that day where they all got traded, not that I should have been more grateful, but if it wouldn't have happened, we'd be sitting in a very different place right now. So I guess the Cubs franchise right now is a little more malleable because of that move, because of the trades that happened on that day. After that, I guess I am at least a little bit grateful, but it's still not great. Then after that, we got a series going to Miami during the weekend. So let's hope for 2 sweeps. Put us back over 500. So that's what I got for the Chicago Cubs this week. Not great. The Bears had another preseason game against the Cincinnati Bengals this past Saturday. Caleb Williams is looking amazing. The one note that I was looking for to make sure that he proved to me, Wild Bill, sitting in Sherman Oaks, California, far away from Chicago. What he had to prove to me was that he could roll out to the left and hit a target in stride. He did exactly that. Had a big strike to Roma Dunze down the sideline on a fadeaway throw. It was amazing. He didn't have the best performance, really, during the entirety of his time. I think he was out there the entire first half or something like that. But he's reading defenses. He's going through his progressions. That's all looking good. The defense is looking good. Again, the other team didn't score a touchdown. I believe they held the Bengals to 6 points. The Bengals didn't really play their number ones. They played mostly their number twos, which either way, that's still NFL competition. That's still good players out there. It's good to see Caleb getting some reps. Had a slow start. Like I said, not the best looking first half of football that we've seen, but you got to go through it for a little bit, and I'm down for it. When I see him out on the field, I see the future of the Chicago Bears, which I'm sure people have said many times in the past. I'm sure they said it about Craig Krenzel and Rex Grossman and Jay Cutler and Mitch Trubisky and Justin Fields and Mike Tomczak and Cade McNown. But this is different. I don't really have much to say about the Hard Knocks episode. It's been a pretty boring season, to tell you the truth, which I'm kind of okay with. I'm cool with the Bears not being like the super overdramatic storyline. I think people are saying that the McCaskies definitely had their hands all over the final cut of everything, which I totally believe. There hasn't been a single cuss word on the program at all, which really, compromises the integrity of what's really going on out there. I highly doubt those dudes are really keeping their mouths clean. I don't really know who the Bears organization is trying to kid. These are grown men doing grown men things, playing a game. Of course they're going to cuss. They're not some dude sitting in a room making a podcast, trying to keep his options open, trying not to cuss as hard as he can, even though he cusses all the time in real life. Sorry to say it for the people that don't know. This is football. It's not a nice sport, so the language isn't usually nice. It's a little off not to hear it. Regardless, I'm excited to see the new episode tonight. I'll come back with some more notes about it. Got my fantasy football drafts coming up on Saturday. Hoping again to find CeeDee Lamb on my team. That's my guy. It's the one reason that I'll watch Dallas Cowboy football. We'll see who else is available. Really, the only thing I really want is CD. He's my favorite guy to cheer for because he gets so many catches. It's fun to watch. The only reason I'll ever tune into a Dallas Cowboy game, even though it gets force-fed down our throats every single week as America's team. I think I'll wait on getting a good quarterback this year. These are the things that I've learned through. Now, this will be, my third or fourth year playing fantasy? I think I got the formula down. A couple good wide receivers, a tight end, then running back, then quarterback. Leave a defense and kicker to the end. That's the Wild Bill way to win a fantasy league that I've never won before. In case anybody wanted to take notes, I get 10% of your winnings. Thank you. So yeah, it's been a busy week for me. Don't have much to say. Yesterday was the 10-year anniversary of me moving out to California, moving out of Illinois. It's been a decade, man. Gone through a lot of trials and tribulations. Very happy that I'm still here. Still trying to make things happen. Haven't given up on anything yet. Came out here majoring in film at San Diego State. Moved up to LA once I graduated. It's a cutthroat industry. It's I don't want to say nice, but at least comforting knowing that it's tough for anybody to find work. So I'm giving myself a lot of slack, a lot of grace during this time. Went through a lot during COVID. So the fact that I'm still here doing what I want to be doing, something that I'm very happy with, very proud of. Hoping that I make it at least another decade. Not really sure where else I would go. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. And I've known this since I was really young. So, happy to be here. Thanks for a good decade, everybody in Southern California. And some people from Northern California. So that's those are my thoughts. That's what I got this week. We'll revisit the Cubs status this upcoming week. Thanks for tuning in. I do see there's at least usually a couple people that watch these videos every single day. It doesn't culminate in too many views or not really any comments, which is fine. But if you do actually watch until the very end, thank you very much. I appreciate you wanting to hear my voice. Maybe not get my ideas because my ideas aren't very well thought out. But at least supporting me. I appreciate that. So I promise I got a little more for you. So stay tuned. Thanks again. It's over.